Recording has begun. Good evening. This is the January 2026 regular meeting of the Complaint Committee of the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force of the City and County of San Francisco. The time is 5:33 p.m. The Sunshine Ordinance Task Force and its committees convene in hybrid meetings that allow for either in-person attendance or remote participation. Public comment will be taken on each item of the agenda. Meeting decorum. Any member of the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force or its committees may call for decorum due to the disorderly conduct of meeting participants. Persons who engage in threatening and/or menacing behavior may be asked to leave. A reminder, please, for those of us who have joined via the WebEx platform, please note that there is a chat function, but we are not using it. It is not used because the written statements in the chat are not visible to anyone in the room who has joined us live or people who have called in. Please do not use the chat function. Chair Schmidt, that completes my announcements.
All right. Let's go ahead with our first item.
Item number 1, call to order, roll call, and agenda changes. Taking the roll. Chair Schmidt.
Present.
Chair Schmidt. Present. Vice Chair Stein.
Present.
Vice Chair Stein, present. Member Sugarman.
Present.
Member Sugarman, present. 3 present, no absences. We have quorum. We have a known request for a one moment, please. Wrong agenda. I apologize. We have no known agenda changes.
All right. I may have something which is, I believe, number 9. As far as I could tell, when I looked at it, the record is incomplete. And we might as well say that deal with number 9 right away. I don't think we can hear number 9. And so I don't want anyone to stick around for that, looking at the record. Did anyone else have the same impression of number 9?
Well, I had a note that it was very unclear because there was no complaint included, or there was just a respondent statement basically. And I was curious. I was wondering, was a complaint submitted? Did the petitioner or complainant know about it? So I did have questions about it.
Well, maybe we could leave it on then, since the police department is also on number 10. I'll do anything. I just didn't want people to expect that there's going to be a hearing on it, because to me the record itself is, it seems like, I'll ask Administrator Peterson, did everything that exists for 26001 make it into the package?
It did.
It did. Okay.
So was there no complaint submitted by a petitioner? Was this initiated by a respondent's message only?
It was a request for supporting documents was sent on January 14, 2026, with a request to respond in 5 business days.
So do you know how the complaint was opened? Because there's no complaint there right now in the packet.
The complaint is opened when we receive the complaint and the request for supporting documents is sent. Is there a preference when it's this close in timeline that the complaint not be agendized for initial hearing?
Well, even the complaint itself is not there. Like it says complaint summary, there's nothing there. Complaint, there's nothing there. Like the headings are all there, but there's no content except for the initial response of the respondent. That's why I wondered, like, was this somehow, what was the genesis of this?
Oh dear, just a moment. It's not a 35-page document. Just a moment.
It's an 11-page document with only a respondent's initial response in it.
There is a 35-page packet and it's not attached. The preparation packet was attached. That is my error. It's a 35-page document.
Yeah, I think we should,
Mine either.
since the substance is not in any kind of package that the public has seen, the notices, et cetera, I think it would be improper to consider this. So maybe the question would be, just do we put this over till the next complaint committee, or do we put this over to any committee? And I'm open to doing it anyway. But it doesn't seem like we should plan to,
Yes.
open this up, have people talk, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not ready. So I'm going to say, since it is so recent, that we should put it on the next complaint committee, because then I think we'd still be in the 45-day window, as far as I can tell. And so why don't, well, I'll make the motion that we continue the matter to our next hearing.
I'll second that if it needs seconded.
I think it might as well.
One moment, please. Anyone wishing to make public comment on the motion to move item 9 to the February 2026 Complaint Committee meeting? If you're in the room, please approach the podium. If you're online, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. I'll give you a moment. We have no one at the podium, one caller.
Oh, caller. Okay.
Hello, caller. Do you wish to make public comment on the motion to move item 9 to the February 2026 calendar of the Complaint Committee?
No, I don't object to that. Just, you've got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Please quickly take a roll call vote if you must, and let's move on, please.
Thank you. We have no one in the queue.
All right, let's vote.
Taking the vote, Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. Motion passes. 3 votes, 3 ayes.
I think we can call number 2.
Item number 2, approval of the December 16, 2025 Sunshine Ordinance Task Force Complaint Committee regular meeting minutes.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve meeting minutes?
Second.
Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 2, please approach the podium or raise your hand in the app. I'll give you a moment. We have no one in the queue. Taking the vote, Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. 3 ayes. Motion passes. Item number 3, public comment. Members of the public may address the committee on matters that are within the committee's jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. Please approach the podium if you're in the room. We have one hand raised. A reminder, if you wish to make public comment, raise your hand in the app or press star 3. Hello, caller. Do you wish to make public comment on item 3?
Yeah, I'll be quick. It's Patrick Monette Shaw. Because of my vocal cord cancer last spring and 27 radiation treatments, I will be using my computer and its read aloud audio playback feature on my complaint that is at agenda item 6. Please bear with me. Thank you.
That's
Thank you, Mr.
that's fine. That's fine, Mr. Manette Shaw. Thank you for the heads up.
Thank you. Your hand has been lowered. I am muting you. We have no one in the queue.
Okay, so number 4.
Item number 4, file number 25128. Complaint filed by Mark LaCroix against the San Francisco Fire Commission for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.8-1, by failing to record audio or audio and video of closed sessions and retain all such records for at least 10 years. Section 67.14, by failing to audio record each regular and special meeting, and Section 67.21, by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner. One moment, checking for the parties. Mr. LaCroix, you've been added as a panelist. You'll be able to raise and lower your hand. One moment, please. We have Ms. Aguas Aklan from the Fire Department. One moment, please. We have Ms. Maureen Conifrey. Ms. Conifrey, I'm unmuting you. Would you like to be added as a panelist, or are you observing?
Observing.
All right, thank you. You'll remain as an attendee, muting you now. Please
Thank
raise your hand if you wish to speak.
Will do.
Parties are present.
All right. The procedure is as follows. We will start with presentations by first the complaining party, the petitioner, for up to 3 minutes, and that's followed by up to 3 minutes by the respondent. You can make your statements to us about pertinent matters about the case, keeping in mind that we've already had a chance to read the written materials. After that, we will move straight to possible questions that the committee members may have of the parties. After that questioning, the committee will make determinations about what we think is appropriate to do with the case. Oftentimes, we will decide that a case is ready to be heard by the full task force. We will look at questions specifically of any jurisdictional issues and whether public documents, public meetings are the subject of a complaint. We may make recommendations to the task force based on the substance of a matter. We also may place a matter on what's called a consent calendar to be heard at the task force on the consent calendar. Okay, so that's the process for all the complaint cases. And it looks like we're going to have 6 or 7 tonight. When the timer is ready, we can start with this petitioner, Mr. LaCroix.
Mr. LaCroix, are you ready for your 3 minutes?
I'm ready. Can you hear me well?
We can hear you well, thank you. Your time begins now.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick summary just for anybody listening. September 29, 2025, I effectively made a records request for video records of separation hearings of the Fire Commission in 2022. There was a response that most of the recordings were unavailable. I then asked for them to identify any records, either audio or video, of the separation hearings, open or closed sessions, and there was no response to this request until the response was given to the Sunshine Task Force and the reply from the complainant. Now, there's kind of some anomalies that happened after I made my request. SFGov TV hosts most of the Fire Commission's meetings, which have never been, they've been preserved for years and years and years. After I made my request, I noticed that none of the SFGov TV Fire Commission meetings were available for several days until October 4th. I'd never seen that before. I check these things kind of routinely, but I've never seen everyone go unavailable. So on October 3rd, Miss Kathy Aguasakalan notified me that none of the recordings were available. And then the following day, all the Fire Commission videos that were hosted on SFGov TV became available again. So I emailed her and I said, well, could it be possible that the SFGov TV going down, affected her records request or her search for the videos I was looking for, which had never been hosted on SFGov TV, to my knowledge. And there was no reply to that email inquiry. So there's a couple of other odd things in the emails that the respondent provided. I'm going to go through a couple that are notable. On page 123 of the attachment, there's a quote. It's an email from Maureen to some tech department, and the quote was, "I was able to see 2022 recordings on Tuesday, which would have been September 29th, the day I made my request. And then when I went back in
30
today,
seconds.
it only went back to April 2023. I was able to download 3 of the recordings on Tuesday, but they do not work on my laptop." And then on page 115, there's a quote that I was able to access some of the recordings by Maureen, I believe. And then there's one that says one recording is available from April 5th, 2022. And I asked why that one wasn't provided to me, and there was no reply to my...
That concludes your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can hear from the respondent when the timer's ready.
Ms. Aguasaklan, are you ready for your 3 minutes? I'm going to unmute you. Hello, could you speak, please? Hello, you've been unmuted. Hello, could you please speak, Ms. Aguas Aklan, so that we know that you are online with us? One moment, please. We're checking audio.
Just to confirm, if you are trying to speak, we're not hearing you.
One moment, please, everyone, while we check audio. One moment, please, while I also check WebEx. Checking again. Ms. Aguas Aklan, can you speak now, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Are you ready for
Okay,
your
thank
3
you.
minutes? Wonderful.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that, everyone.
That's all right. We're ready to go. I'll give you a 30-second
Okay.
warning.
Thank you.
Your time
Um,
begins now.
The San Francisco Fire Commission received complaint 25128 filed by Mr. Mark LaCroix. The commission provided the following response. On September 29, Mr. LaCroix submitted to the commission secretary the following records request. I'm specifically looking for open session video recordings of meetings held on the following dates: special meetings held on WebEx, March 16, March 29, March 30, April 5th, April 6th, April 25th, May 4th, June 24th, September 29, and October 19 for separation hearings held in 2022. Later that day, Mr. LaCroix clarified that he neglected to include the year of 2022 for those special meeting dates, and that while he did not specifically address this as a record request, he asked that the commission secretary proceed with this as a records request. On October 3rd, 2025, I provided transcripts prepared by a certified court reporter of the open session portion of the separation hearings held on the dates that I mentioned above. No audio recording was produced. On October 4, 2025, Mr. LaCroix sent a follow-up email requesting the commission identify the existence of any audio or video recordings of the separation hearings held by the Fire Commission in 2022 and one additional hearing on August 30th, 2023, and to state whether the recording is an audio recording, video recording, and whether the recording is of the open and or closed session pursuant to Sunshine Ordinance Section 67.21C. On October 17, I provided the following response. October 17, 2025, we have exhausted all areas of search for the records you requested. We have nothing further to produce at this point. We are waiting for a response from the city IT department to see if they possess any archives from the recordings requested. We anticipate a response from city IT by October 21st, 2025. I will share responses I received from them with you. On December 15, 2025, the Commission received a response from the Department of Technology stating that as of March 2023, meeting recordings from 2022 are purged after 360 days. After Mr. LaCroix
30
filed
seconds.
filed the underlying complaint, I discovered that she had inadvertently failed to provide a response to Mr. LaCroix's request to identify the existence of any audio or video recordings of the separation hearings held by the Fire Commission in 2022 and one additional hearing on 8/30/2023. Accordingly, I have since informed Mr. LaCroix the following. DT has confirmed the audio recording.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes
Thank
your
you.
3 minutes.
Okay.
All right, so we may have questions for the parties. I know I have a couple, but members?
Okay.
Okay, this is Member Stein. I have a question for the respondent. The petitioner pointed out some sections or some letters from the Fire Commission which seemed to indicate that they did have access to some audio recordings at the time of the request. Can you tell us why they were not, those recordings were not provided at that time?
Well, because the links were listed, but when trying to access the link and click on it, discovered it did not work, then proceeded to do some research by contacting the city IT department, then subsequently found out that these were archived after 360 days without my knowledge that they had such a policy, so they were not able to be accessed at that point.
Okay, and then do you have any comment about, this is again for the respondent, what happened during that 1 week period where the petitioner said the video recordings of those sessions seemed to disappear from the website?
Well, when I was researching and preparing my response to Mr. LaCroix, I had the links, but in my research, I was never able to access the actual videos despite seeing a link listed. So I personally was just never able to click on a particular link for a particular meeting date and see a video. And I'm not sure, I can't speak to what the complainant was seeing on their screen, but I was not able to access despite having the link.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for me.
Okay. Question to the respondent. First, when you, some of these you have a court reporter transcript for, correct? Some of these hearings?
We have certified court reporter transcripts for those.
For everyone that was requested, or for just are there any of the meetings that Mr. LaCroix asked about where you did not supply him a court reporter transcript?
No, I provided a court reporter transcript on October 3rd, 2025 for all of the meeting dates that he asked in his original request. So the answer is no, I provided everything as a transcript.
Okay. And question to Mr. LaCroix, does that sound accurate to you that for the hearings that you're interested in, you've received access to court reporter transcripts for all of them?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay, thank you. Now, Quite back to the respondent. You said that there's a purging after 360 days. Uh, who does that?
So I was informed by WebEx that after 360 days, they no longer keep the recordings. So there's no archive of the recordings for those meeting dates.
Okay. You understand that's a problem, right?
I understand that,
Okay.
and I was not aware of it until I made inquiries and researched on why the links were not working.
Okay. Have you or anyone else you work with done anything to deal with the fact that WebEx is deleting audio tapes that are covered by the section 67.14 of the administrative code?
So what we will do moving forward is make sure that we record all our meetings, which we are doing via SF.gov TV, so they are filmed, all of our meetings, and any sessions are recorded in that manner.
Okay, so you're going to do something different in the future, which is to record all the meetings in order to comply with 6714. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So regular meetings for the Fire Commission are recorded and filmed by SF.gov TV.
Okay. And so the WebEx 360-day deletion, it sounds to me like that's going to continue to be done. Even if you've got your own copy of things, the copy that they have will be deleted in the future, correct?
That is my understanding. That is their policy.
Okay, and their policy would be something, and this may be a little bit outside of what you do, but that would be a citywide policy. Is that, would you understand it to be that?
That's my understanding. And I'd also like to mention that there are audio recordings for any disciplinary hearings.
Okay. Did you produce any audio recordings for disciplinary hearings to Mr. LaCroix on this document request or on this request?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Are you asking if I provided disciplinary recordings?
Were any of the recordings that he asked for here those kind of disciplinary hearing recordings?
To my knowledge, they were special meetings that were held on WebEx on the dates that I had mentioned in my 3-minute response.
Okay. Back to Mr. LaCroix, did you ask for any transcripts or recordings of any disciplinary hearings in this document and meeting information request?
Oh, okay. I understand what you're asking. Actually, every separation was a non-disciplinary separation.
Okay.
So, and I did ask for recordings, video recordings specifically. It was never offered up that an audio recording was available. And until the response to the task force, actually in there, it says the video recordings are available, which is kind of baffling to me.
Okay. So there are still either audio recordings or video recordings that would come within the scope of what you've asked for here, and you haven't received them. Is that your understanding?
I received transcripts, which I didn't ask for, and I wasn't interested in. I actually wanted the video recordings. So, yeah. And then there's also an issue that this kind of goes along with your question there, is several places in the email chain. There was one that Ms. Confrey had downloaded 3 of the video sessions. However, there was no attempt to give those to me. And there was also another multiple responses about that there's an April 5th, 2022 recording that is available. You have to contact an administrator. Now I followed up and I said, well, can I have the contact information for the administrator? And why wasn't this April 5th, 2022 provided that I asked for?
Mhm.
And there was no response to that inquiry. That was last week.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Members, I think that's all the questions I have. Any more questions? Otherwise, we will be now deliberating on whether and how to send this, if we do, to the full task force, whether it's ready, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll ask you all, I can see there's a significant 6714 problem here. The 6781, I don't know if that applies here. Did you think that's something that we should be considering?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking. I have, it seems like a 67.81 violation because the audio recordings weren't kept for 10 years. And then for 6714B, it says that each commission shall audio record each regular and special meeting. It seems like they were recorded, but not kept. I mean, they were recorded by WebEx, but not kept, right? So I'm not sure there's a 6714, but tell me what you're thinking.
Oh, 81, I thought it may only apply to closed sessions.
But were these not closed sessions?
I would think that these are not closed
No, I guess it
sessions.
said open meetings on disciplinary cases. So the disciplinary cases were not, we don't know whether they were closed or not. Because the respondent says that most of the recordings are not available, but they provided transcripts of the open session portions of the meetings. So I assume that some of this was closed.
I don't
But they
think,
weren't unavailable because they were closed, right? They were unavailable because they were unavailable.
But it's just that 6714 applies to, 67.
I'm looking at 14.
Yeah, the other
And
one.
you're saying 81.
8.8-1 applies to closed sessions.
I'll ask just to maybe clear it up to Mr. LaCroix. Do you believe that within the scope of what you asked for here included any closed session material?
So most of them had a significant portion of open session, and then deliberations were closed session.
Okay.
And I believe that was for every data requested, except for maybe the one in 2023. I'm not sure if that was entirely a closed session, but I didn't request the recording from that one.
Okay, so your complaint that you did not receive what you are entitled to here, does it include any of the closed session material, or are you strictly looking for open session material as we're dealing with today?
So I only asked for the open session material.
Okay.
I included 67.8.1 because there was no response to my identifying records, and there should be an audio recording of that closed session. And while it may not be disclosable right now, there's possible future litigation that could become an issue.
Okay, so 8.1, your claim about 8.1 is that you want to know whether the recordings exist on closed sessions that were held on the days you were asking about.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And they did answer that question in the response. They actually said that audio recordings exist of the closed sessions. I do believe in the response to the task force.
Okay.
I don't know why they never told me that, but they told you guys that.
All right. Got it.
Should we just confirm that with the respondent again?
Yeah.
That audio recordings of the closed session portion exist.
Yeah, sure. I responded for the closed session portions of the meetings that are at issue here. There are existing audio recordings for all of them, correct?
Yes, but they are not disclosable.
They're not disclosable. Have any of them been basically deleted because of the WebEx 360-day rule?
Not to my knowledge.
So how does that, in your understanding, how does that work where WebEx deleted apparently with some of these meetings, the open session portion, but WebEx kept the closed session portion. Is that how it works as you understand it?
So when a meeting goes into closed session, the WebEx, to my understanding, would not be recording. So we would stop recording on WebEx when going into a closed session portion of a meeting.
Okay. All right. So in the open session, say we're talking about something that's 3 years ago. In the open session part, you're saying WebEx was recording, however, after 360 days, they would extinguish that, they'd delete it. Is that how it works with the open session part of it?
Yes, that is, the WebEx is a policy
Okay.
on retention.
But WebEx does not actually record when the closed session is occurring. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. How do you have an audio tape of these closed sessions if WebEx stopped recording?
It's recorded on a handheld recorder.
Okay, so the handheld recorder is what does that handheld recorder also record the open session part?
Once they go into open session, then it will be recorded on WebEx.
So is the handheld recorder only used for the closed session part of these meetings and then turned off when it's not closed session?
So moving forward, well, yes, I would record any closed session on the audio handheld recorder. And moving forward, I will continue to do that. And then I would, when going back into open session, I will continue recording on a handheld recorder.
Okay. Got it. All right.
That clarifies.
Is that okay? So
Have we also considered 6721?
Yeah, I mean, it's on there.
Yeah, I mean, like, is that, I haven't heard it come up. I mean, but in the, you discussed 6714 and 6781. And my only contribution that I want to put in for this is 6721, because the respondent, from what I recall, in the initial response had said, and also it was in the packet, I did see it there too, but like that they had, after the complaint had been filed, they had realized they had missed like a couple of things to send him. So that's just my addition to this deliberation.
And I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Absolutely. 21 is kind of the mechanism where you have, even though 14 says they got to keep it, it doesn't tell you how to ask for it.
Mhm.
So 21 puts them on a deadline to produce. So I think that we're maybe not talking about 8.1 as much. Now, Member Stein was talking about 14. Now, this is the way I read it was that 14B says that each board and commission shall audio record. Each audio recording and any audio or video recording shall be subject to inspection and shall not be erased or destroyed. The erasure destruction part of it, I think that we've got this, what WebEx is doing, I think comes within that provision.
Yeah.
And even if, I think that it's commendable that the Fire Commission has seen that these were not being preserved due to WebEx policies. It's commendable that you're taping. I think also if there's a second tape that WebEx is taping and they continue to delete after 360 days, obviously, well, WebEx is deleting something that 6714 requires to not be deleted. So we've got a problem here, to me, with what WebEx is doing. I don't know how we do anything about that, but to me, it sounds like it may be citywide, that every commission's meetings right now are being deleted by WebEx. I think that's better than just speculation based on what I've heard here.
Yeah, and I still think that would be responsibility of each commission to make sure that that's not happening. If they know they need to keep something for 10 years and they're outsourcing it to WebEx, then they need to know what the parameters of that are, and WebEx needs to know that, right?
Yes.
So it does seem, I mean, the notes I have, or the way I'm thinking about it now, is I definitely think there's 6721 violation, since part of the public records request wasn't responded to on time, particularly, they didn't let the petitioner know whether audio or video recordings existed. And then I think it sounds like there's a 67.14B violation, since the meetings were audio recorded but were erased after 360 days. And we could explain in our recommendation that this was during the mayor's orders on COVID and that WebEx recorded it and then WebEx erased it. But I think it was the responsibility of the Fire Commission to ensure that they kept for 10 years, and that didn't happen. But maybe recommend not finding a 67.81 violation, because separate audio recordings were made by the Fire Commission, though these are not disclosable. So I think we could maybe forward this to the consent calendar.
I think consent makes more sense because they already discussed providing remedies. So if it was like a 6714 thing that is, again, policy wide, which should be brought up to the full board, like this should not be the bellwether case on this department, since they already know that they have to remedy it.
This can also be brought up to the board without doing it through the case,
Mhm.
I think. And there's also nothing left to provide. They've provided what they can provide for now, which is, to me, an argument for potentially putting it on the consent calendar.
Although it does sound to me like there are some outstanding items that he's looking for. I think that there's several items that they've mentioned, you know, at certain times they had access, other times they didn't have access. I'm going to ask petitioner, isn't that correct that you think that there's existing items you still haven't received?
Yes, if you look at the email chain, the IT routinely says that there's one available
Yeah.
on the 5th of April, 2022. And Maureen in the beginning says I downloaded 3 of the files on her computer. So those seem to exist.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and you
they-
need to
and
get
she said
those.
she could see them all on September 29th, which, you know, then they seem to have disappeared.
Thank you. So let's throw in an order to produce everything that hasn't been produced that, you know, is findable in existence, hasn't been deleted. But yeah, I'm on board with you. The only problem with this one being a consent matter, is there a way we can ensure that, you know, we sort of raise the issue that it appears that there's an ongoing deletion process, possibly citywide. I don't know how much WebEx is being used anymore, and it may be that all the damage is done. But that's the thing, is this one looks like it may be that there's a lot of commissions that were having things deleted illegally. Do we raise that in a different way, but put this on the consent calendar? And if you want to do consent, I'm fine with that, because you're right. This looks like, yeah, it's clearly these violations are clear.
Could we say that we refer this to the Education Outreach and Training Committee to follow up with WebEx to ensure that special meetings that they record are not deleted
Excellent.
within 10 years?
Excellent.
I was thinking more like a letter to a subcommittee.
Well, that could be what they do on EOT.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it'd be up to them to reach out, write a letter, call, do whatever they have to do to try to fix this problem.
Okay. I think we're all well on board. We just gotta put it into a form of a motion. I don't know,
I have a
members.
form, but it's really long.
Member Stein is,
Are you ready for
I
this?
know you're ready to go. Go
Ready
for
for
it.
this, Pat?
How about,
Yes, I have that the task force has jurisdiction, that the requested records are public, and
We recommend finding a 6721 violation for timeliness,
yes,
since part of the records request was responded to late.
is the last part something that you want included in text in the
Yes.
finding?
Yeah, sadly.
Okay.
After our last meeting, I think I need to spell it out. Since part of the public records request was responded to late,
Yes.
comma, i.e., letting the petitioner know whether audio and video recordings existed.
Just a moment. Was that audio and video?
Yeah.
i.e. letting the petitioner know that audio and video recordings existed?
Yeah,
Comma.
period. We also recommend finding a 67.14B violation. Since the meetings were audio recorded but destroyed after 360 days.
Just a moment. 360 days. What was the code section again, please?
67.14B.
67.14 sub B. Okay,
The sessions,
mhm,
which occurred during the mayor's orders on COVID.
Okay.
were recorded remotely by WebEx,
Mhm.
but later destroyed by WebEx.
Okay.
However, it was the responsibility of the Fire Commission
Mhm.
to ensure that they were kept for 10 years.
Okay.
We recommend finding no 67.8-1 violation.
Just a moment. We recommend finding no 67.8-1 violation.
Because separate audio recordings were made by the Fire Commission.
Mhm.
Though these are not disclosable. Or we could say, though these are not disclosable at present.
Okay.
We forward this to the consent calendar.
Okay.
We'll say written transcripts were provided.
I'm sorry. We forward this to the consent calendar.
Yeah. Period. And I'm just adding written transcripts were provided. And no, let's see, and there's nothing left to provide. Oh, wait, that's not the case, right? We're just,
It's not the
sorry,
case.
sorry.
Yeah.
Strike that. Written transcripts were provided. Period. There may still be some items, or do you want to say there are still?
I would say under section 6721, respondent is ordered to produce all remaining
Okay.
requested audio tapes.
Okay, so under 6721, respondent is ordered
To produce
to produce,
all remaining requested,
say, any remaining
any remaining.
audio tapes. Do we want to say including the April 5th, 2022 recording? And the items the secretary downloaded onto their computer, the 3 items. So the 3 items that the commission secretary downloaded onto their computer. And we want to refer this.
Just a moment, please.
Okay.
We want to refer this
To the education, the EOTC committee. To follow up with WebEx. To ensure that recordings of special meetings
Yes.
are retained for 10 years.
All right, reading it back. Moved by Vice Chair Stein,
Second.
seconded by Member Sugarman. To find that the task force has jurisdiction, that the requested records are public, and find a violation of Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.21 for timeliness, since part of the records request was responded to late, comma, id est, letting the petitioner know that audio and video recordings existed, period. The committee further finds that the session that occurred during the mayor's orders on COVID were recorded remotely by WebEx, but later destroyed by WebEx, period. However, comma, the committee further finds that it was the responsibility of the Fire Commission to ensure that they were kept for 10 years, period. The committee recommends finding no violation of Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.8-1, a 67.8-1 violation because separate audio recordings were made by the Fire Commission, though these are not disclosable at present, period. The committee forwards this matter to the consent agenda, period. The committee finds that written transcripts were provided, period. The committee orders under Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.21, that respondent is ordered to produce any remaining audio tapes and the three items the commission secretary downloaded to their computer. Those three.
The April 5th, 2022 audio recordings that IT said were available, I guess you can say.
Okay, and the dates of the three items will have to be added. Period. The committee further refers this matter to the Education Outreach and Training Committee to follow up with WebEx to ensure that recordings of special meetings are maintained for 10 years pursuant to, and then the code section will be added.
Do we also want to refer this to the compliance and amendments to make sure this is complied with?
That was initially my thought.
We also refer this to compliance and amendments to follow up with whether these recordings were received.
Would it be appropriate for EOTC to do that after it here's the matter?
They could do that at EOTC, I think. I know it's technically not their scope, although other people talk about any committee doing compliance.
Okay. So, so then I guess refer to EOTC to follow up with WebEx to ensure that recordings of special meetings are retained for 10 years and that the respondent provides the remaining documents.
Is that the sentence ordered to produce any remaining audio tapes and the items and the three items the commission secretary downloaded, which have to be called out, including the April 5, 2022 recording that IT said were available?
I
Is
think
that the sentence?
I think it's actually the last sentence where at the end of that last sentence, it would just also say, and to ensure compliance. with this order.
Okay. And to ensure compliance with
Okay.
this order. Yeah.
Okay.
Clarification, please. So EOTC is to ensure that the recordings being maintained for 10 years is discussed, is followed up with WebEx, and that the recordings are provided to petitioner.
Yes. Before we, it sounds like we've got the wording hammered out, but there's two places where you said 10 years. And I wonder if I could suggest that instead of that, instead of saying for 10 years, we say as 67.14 requires.
In the last one, then I think.
Because the only place I see 10 years is in section 8.1 in the closed session one. I think that I don't see any 10-year kind of thing here in 67.14.
Okay. You're saying, is that supposed to be kept like?
It's not actually clear to me how long they need to keep it under B. C talks about regular meetings and talks about 2 years.
Mhm.
But maybe we could just say as 67.14 requires, and then they.
So then say,
figure it out.
refer to EOTC committee to follow up with WebEx to ensure that recording special meetings are retained as 67.14 requires.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, so that has been changed in the instruction or the referral to EOTC to ensure the recordings of special meetings are maintained as required by 6714. The 10-year language has also been removed from the statement regarding the fact that it's the responsibility of the fire commission to ensure that they were kept as required by 6714 or 6714 requires. That change has been made in 2 sections.
Okay, is this second?
It's still second.
Okay.
And that is moved by Vice Chair Stein, seconded by Member Sugarman. Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 4, please approach the podium if you're in the room. If you're online, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. I'll give you a moment. We have no one in the room. We have 2 hands raised.
Good evening, Commission.
Hello. Just a moment, please. Let me check the timer.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes. Are you ready for your 3 minutes to begin?
I am, yes, thank you.
Your time begins now.
Good evening, Commissioners. I would like to maybe add that the Commission, Fire Commission, produced the evidence that they say WebEx destroys recordings after 360 days, because I've looked through SF.gov. I'm very invested in this outcome. I've looked through SF.gov TV, and all commissions and meetings were held via WebEx from 2020 to 2022. Every other recording is there, available. No other commission has a retention problem. So I think given how things have been going for us because we're in litigation. It's funny that the only ones that I can identify that are missing are the ones that are important to us that are involved in litigation. So I think, you know, commissioner that said this, the fire commission was acting commendably. I disagree completely. Yeah, if they could produce the policy from WebEx and produce that to you, or please request that they do so, because I guess WebEx just decided they wanted to delete all of the fire commission meetings and no other meeting. And yes, I'm being a little cynical, but it's par for the course of how we've been treated. I don't believe them for a second. They disappeared when Mark LaCroix requested them. The website went down. Magically, 4 days later, I've never seen the website go down. I've looked at it daily for 4 years. This is preposterous that they're trying to pull this off. But okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, caller. Do you
Thank you.
wish to leave your name?
Michael Crotty, former San Francisco firefighter.
Thank you. I'm lowering your hand. We have an additional caller. Hello, caller. Do you wish to make public comment on item 4?
Yes, it's Patrick. I'll be brief. Just hearing former firefighter speak, it sounds to me like you need to amend your motion, because it is suspicious that their website went down for several days, and when it came back up, that's when the materials apparently went missing. The complaint committee needs to follow up on the firefighters' concerns because they're obviously valid concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you wish to leave your name?
That was Patrick Manette Shaw.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
I think we can.
I'm muting you.
We can vote if.
We have one more.
Oh, there's another one. Okay.
Yes, just a moment, please. Mr. Manette Shaw, I'm muting you. Hello, caller. Do you wish to make public comment on item 4?
Yes, I do.
Just a moment. Your 3 minutes begins now.
Hi, this is Michael Petrellis calling in, and I want to comment on how the commissioners did a terrific job of asking questions about devices that were used to record meetings. And because of your questions, I found out that the department here in question was using a handheld device. And that is not something I would have thought of as a member of the public. If I were tuning in and watching a fire commission meeting or a fire department meeting, I would not think that they would be using a device not connected to their monitor, and that you wouldn't be able to tell that they were using a phone or an old-fashioned tape recorder to record the meeting. So the basic point here is thank you for your line of questioning, commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Petrellis.
Thank you.
Lowering your hand, muting you now. We have no one in the queue. Taking the vote. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. This is the vote on item 4. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes.
Okay, thank you to the parties. When you're ready, we'll move to the next item.
Item number 5, file number 25129, complaint by Anonymous SFG against Office of the Mayor for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance Section 67.21 by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner. We have respondent present. One moment. Mr. Darmali, promoting you to panelist. Petitioner, if you're in the room or online, please indicate that you are here. If you're online, raise your hand in the app or press *3. Petitioner in file number 25129, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. I want to remind individuals online that we are not using the chat in WebEx. We are not doing that because people who are with us in the room physically or who have joined us by telephone cannot see the chat. One moment, please. Petitioner does not appear to be present.
Well, if petitioner's not here, I think the appropriate thing to do is to close the matter at this time. So I will make the motion that we close number 25129.
Second that.
Motion by Chair Schmidt, seconded by Vice Chair Stein, to close file number 25129 pursuant to Sunshine Ordinance Task Force Complaint Procedure C7B. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. If you're in the room, approach the podium. We have no hands raised.
Okay.
Mr. Damali, thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Mr. Damali. I was not sure if I was going to be, I'm just going to tell you, since you made the effort to be here, and the other members here may think differently, but I thought your position that this was asking you to create documents was a pretty strong contention. But it might be that this matter never comes up unless, you know, the Anonymous somehow reappears on this one. Okay, then I guess we vote.
Just a moment, please. Taking the vote on item 5, Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Vice Chair Stein. Vice Chair Stein, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes. Item number 6, file number 25130. Complaint filed by Patrick Manette Shaw against the Commission Streamlining Task Force, Ed Harrington, Sophia Kittler, and the Deputy City Attorney, John Givner, for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.7, by failing to post an agenda at least 72 hours before a regular meeting containing a meaningful description of each item of business to be transacted or discussed at the meeting. We have respondent present. One moment, please. It's Ms. Rachel Alonso.
Okay, and I know petitioner's present. I just want to make sure, since it looks like we have several named respondent individuals, that we have one person speaking on behalf of all of them, or is there possibly another respondent, or it could even be multiple respondents? Let's make sure we have everyone able to speak on their own behalf or others' behalf.
The attorney's office was noticed.
City Attorney's Office?
Yes.
Okay, so they know about it. Got it.
Mr. Manette Shaw, would you raise your hand again? We have a number of callers, but I don't see a name.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Can
Mr.
you
Manette
hear
Shaw.
me now?
Yes, confirming that we have you present. One moment, I'm going to move you to panelist.
Wait, okay, but while you're doing that, let me say that the agenda does not say that I am specifically citing a violation of 67.7 subparagraph D and subparagraph E, and you did not list on the agenda that I'm also basing it on 67.6 F concerning special meetings.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's go ahead and hear from petitioner, and then we'll see what we get on behalf of the respondents.
Mr. Manette Shaw, are you ready for your 3 minutes?
Yeah, but did you hear what I said about 67.7 D and E?
Yeah, we heard you.
Okay, good.
All right, your 3 minutes begins now.
All right, thank you. Here I go with audio playback.
The full Sunshine Task Force needs to consider as a jurisdictional issue whether an overly broad description used by the Streamlining Task Force for agenda item number 6 was used as a pretext and an end-run loophole to get around Brown Act and Sunshine Ordinance rules about not discussing topics that weren't on a published agenda. I submitted a correction to my initial Sunshine complaint. It begins on page 35 in the PDF file in your agenda packets. Please refer to that version. At 3 hours and 1 minute on that meeting's audio tape, Streamlining Task Force Chair Ed Harrington introduced a motion to bring back the Reentry Council for further discussion and action at a future meeting to see if they wanted to change their initial recommendation to eliminate the Reentry Council. Harrington's motion for a future meeting was seconded. Support staff to the Streamlining Task Force stated they could re-agendize it for the task force's future meeting on December 18th or January 14th, where the item could be reconsidered and appropriately noticed on a published meeting agenda. At 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 10 seconds on the December 12th meeting audio tape, Streamlining Task Force member Sophia Kittler brazenly asked, quote, separating best practices versus Brown Act rules, would it be inappropriate for us to discuss this today? End quote. Given Kittler's mention of the Brown Act, she appears to have had foreknowledge the Streamlining Task Force was prohibited from taking action on an item not on the published meeting agenda. Then, at 3 hours, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds on audio tape, Deputy City Attorney John Givner surprisingly stated, you could go back to agenda item 7 and discuss. Givner misspoke. He meant back to item number 6. Givner simply made up a fake rule on the spot, a fake rule not permitted by the Brown Act. At 3 hours, 6 minutes, and 54 seconds on audio tape, Task Force Chair Harrington said, "So let's reopen item 6. I would typically not want to have discussion and decisions about things that were not on the posted agenda, but I think this is not controversial. There is no Brown Act exception permitting discussion of anything whether or not it is controversial." Vice Chair Bruss introduced a competing motion to reverse the task force's prior September 3rd decision and restore the Reentry Council to its current form, but keep the Council's planned 2029 sunset date, which motion was seconded by Member Kidler. The task force just blithely passed Bruss' alternative motion unanimously to restore the Reentry Council on the spot, without withdrawing closing Harrington's initial motion to schedule it for a future meeting. The city attorney's undated response to my Sunshine complaint asserted that because agenda item number 6 had stated on the agenda, quote, "Topics to be considered include but may not be limited to the following. Any of the city's public meeting bodies may be discussed at this time," end quote. That's a novel interpretation of the Brown Act, and among jurisdictional issues the full Sunshine Task Force must consider at a full SOTF hearing. The CAO also boldly asserted
Minette Shaw, that
it
concludes
was
the
unnecessary
3
to
minutes.
list out every commission the CSTF had acted upon.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, now we'll hear from the respondents.
Ms. Alonso, are you ready for your 3 minutes?
Yes, I'm ready for my 3 minutes.
Your time begins now. You'll receive a
You.
30-second update or
Okay,
notice.
great. Good evening, complaint committee members. Thank you for your time. My name is Rachel Alonso. I'm a project manager in the city administrator's office overseeing the commission's streamlining task force, which has been charged with reviewing the city's 152 public bodies and making recommendations by February 1st, 2026 to the mayor and board of supervisors about which bodies to keep, modify, or eliminate. Given the magnitude and complexity of the work being carried out through public meetings, my staff and I have worked really hard to ensure maximum public participation. In the detailed response we submitted, you'll see that our task force has been meeting regularly since last January. Hundreds of public commenters have followed our meetings and provided testimony. It has been an iterative process. Last spring and summer, our meetings covered very big concepts, while this fall we started talking about more specific recommendations. Whenever the task force is going to spend time discussing a particular body, we have called that out on the agenda. We've also made it clear in every meeting that all decisions along the way are preliminary or tentative, which is a key distinction between our task force and other public bodies. So the task force's decisions are not binding until it adopts its final report. Our vote-taking process has basically been a facilitation tool. As we got closer to the statutory February 1st deadline, we needed to return to talking about things more comprehensively. The task force's work is going to culminate in a comprehensive report and 500 pages of legislation. To achieve that, we started revisiting decisions and including an item on the agenda that the task force could revisit any of the 800 plus tentative decisions made to date. We have a list of those decisions and we update it after every meeting and post it on our website. Anyone following the task force's work can look at that decision log to see an itemized breakdown of what will go into the final report and is eligible to be discussed. Throughout this year-long process, we've regularly heard from members of the public about bodies not specifically named on an agenda, which shows people understand our unique process. Item 6 on the December 12th agenda authorized the task force to discuss and vote on previous decisions, even for bodies not specifically named. Towards the end of the meeting, 18 formerly incarcerated individuals asked the task force to reverse its previous decision about the Reentry Council. Rather than making people come back to City Hall another time, we sought the city attorney's advice about reopening agenda item 6. Chief Assistant City Attorney John Gisner said the Reentry Council was in scope of the agenda notice, and so the task force voted to keep the body. As reflected in our response, our intent throughout has been to maximize transparency and public participation while meeting a voter-mandated deadline, and we believe that our December 12th action complied with the Sunshine Ordinance. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just ask if there's anyone else who wishes to speak on behalf of the respondents, specifically not someone who's simply a witness of some kind, but as a representative of any of them. I assume Ms. Alonso is speaking on behalf of several of them, and that's fine. It might just be Ms. Alonso, but is there anyone else who wished to speak?
We have no hands raised.
Okay.
Oh,
thank
wait, one moment, please.
I don't believe it's someone from the respondent team. I was designated to attend on our behalf.
you. Okay, thank you. Great.
Yeah.
Through the chair, may I check and see on this hand raised?
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Are you speaking on behalf of respondent?
Oh, no, I misunderstood. I wanted to speak in favor of Patrick.
Thank you. Lowering your hand. We have no hands raised.
All right. So, members, any questions for either of the parties here?
This is Member Stein. I do have one question for Ms. Alonso. Can you tell us whether item 6 was modeled after something you've seen other bodies do, or was this something that you created for the Commission Streamlining Task Force?
Sure. I created this for the Commission Streamlining Task Force in consultation with the City Attorney's Office. They've reviewed every agenda. When we first started our work, I looked for a lot of what I was calling comps from what other commissions were doing. But in terms of our deliverable and our, we have a limited amount of time, I have not referred to other agendas as we've gotten farther in our process.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask, you gave us a number, and I just want to hear that again. You said that this item number 6 could have potentially opened up for discussion with previous decisions that were in the hundreds, I think. What was the number that you gave us before?
800 plus.
Okay,
That's
so
based on our decision log.
So your theory of the case here, as I understand it, is that with the way that 6 was presented, any of those 800 items could have been dealt with and changed in some way at this hearing. Is that fair to say?
Yes. And again, that perhaps this is straying, but given the volume of decisions that we have to make and the fact that time was running out, we felt like we had no other choice but to shift to that kind of method.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions for the parties? If not, we still can, have questions, but we might be ready to deliberate on this. Any thoughts, members?
This is Member Stein. I think this is kind of an unusual case and an unusual item to have on an agenda. And for that reason, I think it's going to have to go to the full task force. So I don't think we need to really belabor it here. I do want to say I think both the petitioner and the respondent have explained themselves very well in the packet. So I think their positions and reasons for their positions are very, very clear. And I understand that the Commission Streamlining Task Force has these deadlines and why they would try to write an item like this, but it also seems potentially problematic too. And I'll just say I've definitely heard several people who are tracking the Commission Streamlining Task Force meetings describe this item with some anxiety and slight disbelief that they have to be there. It's sort of a high burden for the public to have to be there every time to see whether a decision is undone or taken up again and all of that. So I think it's just so unusual. That's why I was asking whether it was modeled after something else that, they'd seen elsewhere. So for that reason, I think we probably just need to send it to the full task force.
I second that.
So basically, the motion is, as Administrator Peterson has the language, we're dealing with public meetings and we have jurisdiction, right? That's the start of the motion. And then,
And we send it to the full task force with no recommendation.
Just a moment, please. Could I go back to, after the task force has jurisdiction, what is the statement about the merits?
I would forward it with no recommendation.
we're not really coming to any discussion of the merits here. We're just forwarding it.
Moved by Vice Chair Stein, seconded by Member Sugarman, to find that the task force has jurisdiction and forwards the matter to the full task force for consideration.
And yeah, Member Stein, yeah.
Jurisdiction.
Member Stein, your previous description, I'm pretty much in line with that. I'm not sure on this one.
May I get that language again? Vice Chair Stein,
Sorry?
can I get that language again? I have forwarding the matter to the full task force for
Public meeting under our jurisdiction, and we're forwarding the matter to the full task force with no recommendation.
taking public comment on item 6. Anyone wishing to make public comment? If you're in the room, please approach the podium. If you're online, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. We have one hand raised. Hello, caller. Do you wish to make public comment on item 6?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Your 3 minutes begins now.
Hi, this is Michael Petrellis calling in. I want to support Patrick, and he's done amazing work over the years in terms of bringing much needed transparency and government accountability here in San Francisco. And if Patrick is filing a complaint with the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force, there is serious merit to what Patrick is saying. So I hope that you will approve his complaint. Thank you.
Thank you. Muting you, Mr. Petrellis. We have no hands raised. Taking the vote. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes. Panelists, parties, thank you. Returning you to panelist status.
Let's hear one more case and then we'll take a break, if that's all right with everyone.
One moment, please. Thank you. Item 7, file number 2 5-133. Complaint filed by Michael Petrellis against the Office of the Mayor for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.29-5, by failing to provide a Prop G calendar in a timely and/or complete manner. Promoting Mr. Damali to panelist. Mr. Petrellis, would you raise your hand, please, so that I can identify you among the callers? Thank you. Hello, confirming that this is Mr. Petrellis.
Yes, this is Michael Petrellis.
Thank you. One moment, please. Promoting you to panelist. The parties are present.
Okay, let's, when the timer's ready, let's start with Mr. Petrellis.
Mr. Petrellis, are you ready for your 3 minutes? Mr. Petrellis, you've been unmuted.
Hi, I'm ready to begin.
Your time begins now.
Hi, this is Michael Petrellis. I made this request for the mayor's calendar and was surprised to see that there were no meetings listed for meetings with PG&E representatives. The Ethics Commission disclosure forms showed that there were many listings for contact with the mayor, and it lists the mayor's name on the disclosure forms that PG&E was filing all these forms saying their contact was with Daniel Laurie. If we go to the document for this case, you'll see on pages 12 through 17, the mayor's office provided a private email about meetings in question in October, and the mayor's office also included information about Microsoft Teams and setting up the meeting. That private information is not available when you look at the disclosure forms for the Ethics Commission. The mayor responds on page 30 of the document. Scroll down to page 30 and you'll see there's a paragraph where they say Mr. Petrellis has included a screenshot of the Ethics Commission's overviews. And then the mayor's office goes on to explain the details pages are included in the supporting documents. When you go to those supporting documents, scroll back up to like page 23 or 24, you'll see the screen grabs from the Ethics Commission shows contact public official details. You see public official, the name there is Daniel Laurie, and then under intermediaries, it lists a name. Me as a member of the public, how am I supposed to know who this person is? I do not know that. Using this information, I filed the complaint, and I believe the mayor's office has a duty to contact the Ethics Commission and revise their disclosure forms. They need to make it clear that if the PG&E is not meeting with the mayor, they have to say who they are meeting with. The mayor's office has a responsibility here to direct the Ethics Commission to revise the disclosure forms, and the mayor has a lot of control over this commission, which is why I think you should, as the task force, direct the mayor's office to revise
Thank you, Mr. Petrellis. Thank you. Mr. Damali, are you ready for your 3 minutes?
Yes, I'm ready.
Your time begins now.
Good evening. I am Dexter Darmali, Legislative and Ethics Secretary to Mayor Lurie. I want to start by thanking the members of the task force and the committee staff for all your work. It's very nice to be with you all again. Mr. Petrellis' request was completed and considered closed on October 31st, 2025. The request asked for Mayor Lurie's Prop G calendar from October 22nd to October 27th, 2025. The complaint claims the following. This is a formal complaint against Mayor Daniel Lurie for failing to list any of the 51 meetings he's held since taking office in January with representatives of the Pacific Gas and Electric Company, according to lobbyist disclosure records from the Ethics Commission on his calendar. This complaint claims that Mayor Lurie is not listing meetings with PG&E lobbyists correctly on the Prop G calendar. This claim is inaccurate, and the Prop G calendar shared on October 31st, 2025 with Mr. Petrellis is complete and accurate. Mr. Petrellis has included a screenshot of the Ethics Commission's overview of the reported lobbyist contact list for the Office of the Mayor, but the complete information in the details section, which he has pointed out and are in the supporting documents. It is important to note that the Ethics Commission page that Mr. Petrellis is referencing is filed by lobbyists and not city staff, so the information found here is not under the direction of city staff who could be involved in the contact. Reviewing the PG&E contact dates between October 17th to November 3rd, each contact has an intermediary listed. The intermediary section is completed when the staff, not the public official, is the point of contact for the lobbyist, and the lobbyist believes that the intermediary may inform the public official of the contact. The calendar meeting invites are also included to reaffirm that Mayor Lurie did not participate in these PG&E contacts. Two of these contacts also bring into concern the accuracy of lobbyist reporting. The October 23rd contact with PG&E was not with the Office of the Mayor, but with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development, MOCD. The Mayor's Office and MOCD are separate city departments that happen to include Mayor in both of their titles. There was no meeting or contact with mayoral staff Florence Simon and PG&E lobbyist Sarah Yule. This October 23rd contact with PG&E and the Office of the Mayor did not occur with either the intermediary listed or Mayor Lurie. There were no forms of contact found after a reasonable and diligent search. There are also scheduling conflicts between the mayor's calendar and the calendar invites for the PG&E contacts. When looking at the October 27th meeting with PG&E is one example. The PG&E meeting was attended by mayoral staffer from 4:30 p.m. on October 27th. At the same time, Mayor Lurie was in a mayoral staff briefing regarding health and human services. This example reaffirms that the Prop G calendar is correct, and the claim that meetings with PG&E are going unreported with Mayor Lurie is incorrect. For all the reasons aforementioned, the task force should dismiss Mr. Petrellis' complaint because the Office of the Mayor has already satisfied the request in a timely and complete manner. The Prop G calendar is accurate and no meetings have been omitted. Thank you to the task force members for their time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we may have questions for the parties before we would move to deliberation and consideration. I'm going to ask, this is Chair Schmidt, Mr. Petrellis, it seems like the gist of what you're saying is that documents submitted by PG&E as a lobbyist to the Ethics Commission are either false or misleading in some way, and that the mayor's office needs to do something about it. Isn't that sort of what your presentation is saying?
Yes, you have accurately summed up what I'm saying here.
Okay. Would it be that you think the mayor's office should tell the lobbyist to revise what they filed, or that the mayor's office should somehow tell the Ethics Commission that the existing lobbyist filings are wrong? Which is, if you have an opinion, which is the route that you think that they should take?
To answer your question, yes, I believe it is the mayor's duty, since the mayor's name is on these disclosure forms, that it's his responsibility to instruct both the lobbyist, which in this case is PG&E, and the ethics department, which he has a big say over, because his name is attached there. He should be insisting that somehow it is disclosed there that the contact was not with him. Because it says contact, okay? If it wasn't with him, there shouldn't take a complaint to find out what this intermediary section is and who that name represents. Yes, the mayor has a duty here.
Thank you. And after having filed this petition and seeing what you've seen both outside of the complaint process and this complaint process, do you accept the idea that these approximately 51 meetings were actually with intermediaries and not the mayor as the mayor Daniel Lurie himself?
In theory, and for argument's sake, yes, I will accept that. But I am very skeptical of anything an elected official tells me about their calendar.
Thank you. Okay. That's all the questions I really have, members. And it might be that we have no further questions, although in this committee, I never want to stop people from asking questions. But we can also probably do our deliberation on what to do with this matter. Any thoughts?
Does that mean we're moving on to deliberation?
Sure.
I don't have any additional questions. Yeah, so I mean, I personally don't see a violation. Because the mayor's office, just, explanation makes sense. I was just looking at the lobbyist regulations in the campaign and governmental conduct code section, where they themselves use the term intermediary. But I agree, it's not probably a term that's like really understandable to the average person or the person of average intelligence, but it also is the way that the regulations are written. So I would want to say no violation. We could consider suggesting the task force or the EOTC send a letter to the mayor's office, just alerting them to this issue and saying, to be more transparent to the average person, maybe you want to say intermediary or person met with or whatever, so that someone actually looking at these forms would understand what that means.
But they've been alerted at this point. The mayor's office by this complaint.
I guess they have, but it would be more like part of, again, education and outreach to just say from us, we think this should probably happen and here's why, but I don't see a violation here.
I think that I'm probably on board with that. I think that what the petitioner is asking the mayor's office to do would be pretty much outside of what we get involved in. And I think we are kind of limited to looking at having seen everything we've seen was the production of the calendar correct. And I think that going further than that may be sort of more than we really ought to be doing. I think that Prop G calendar here was a lot better than sorry, but a lot better than the last mayor's was. It seems like it actually was accurate. And, if we dig in, we find that, oh, well, there's details, et cetera, but the accuracy of the calendar, it turns out that I don't think we could cite the mayor with having violated their legal obligation here. You know, maybe they ought to, you know, talk to the lobbyist or the ethics commission and say there's a, I personally don't see that it's the mayor's duty to police what lobbyists tell the ethics commission. That I would probably disagree with Ms. Petrellis on myself. But for purposes strictly of what we're doing here, I'm thinking that, you know, it's just a question of, do we do it as we just give it to the task force to look at? Do we make our own recommendation, or do we possibly put it on a consent calendar?
Oh, I would put it on a consent calendar saying no violation. My only question was whether we wanted to, you know, go beyond and just say this could be clearer. But I think it's also true. It's not exactly, it's kind of borderline within our scope. And especially given the way the laws of campaign and governmental conduct are written. That's the term they use. And so if somebody did want to really dive into that, it's all there, you know, at the SF ethics page, what these things mean.
Yeah. Okay.
We would have to, I agree that it should be on the consent calendar, but there would have to be some, given what transpired at the last full board meeting, I would recommend giving 1 or 2 lines of explanation as to why it's on for no violation.
Good point.
And for me, the only thing that's like relevant is, and I don't, please don't put me up to make the motion, but for me, it's that we have jurisdiction because it's about a Prop G calendar issue, and there's no violation because the mayor wasn't present at those meetings. That's the reason.
Yeah, I have some language. I wrote there's no violation because the meetings listed by lobbyists were not with the mayor, but with his staff.
Right.
And there's no entry therefore needed to appear on the mayor's Prop G calendar. Send to the consent calendar.
I need a restatement, please.
So I guess I'll move that we have jurisdiction. You know, these are public records under our jurisdiction. We send it to the consent calendar with a recommendation of no violation.
Because
the meetings listed by lobbyists were not with the mayor, but with his staff. Period. No entry therefore needed to appear on the mayor's Prop G calendar.
I'll second that if it hasn't been seconded.
it has not been seconded. Moved by Vice Chair Stein, seconded by Chair Schmidt, to find that the task force has jurisdiction, that the requested records are public, and refers the matter to the consent agenda with a finding of no violation of Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.29-5 by the Office of the Mayor because the meetings listed by the lobbyists were not with the mayor, but with his staff, period. The committee further finds that no entry therefore needed to appear on the mayor's Prop G calendar.
Okay, public comment.
Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 7, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. We have no one in the room, no hands raised. Taking the vote. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes.
Thank you to the parties.
Thank you, parties.
Thank you.
Okay, let's take a Let's take a break till 1:45.
The meeting is in recess at 7:33 PM. Microphones are off. Complaint Committee is back in session at 7:45 PM. All parties all task force members are present.
Looks like we're up for number 8.
Item number 8, file number 25134, complaint filed by Min Contaruti against Homeless and Supportive Housing for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.21, by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner. Chair Schmidt, I apologize. This is a matter that has been copied to the task force members. I sent the notice of hearing to petitioner with a wrong email address. Petitioner has agreed to a continuance. Respondent has been notified. And this matter can be agendized for the EOTC on Tuesday, January 27. The parties have already been notified about the period for submitting responsive documents, and they know that responsive documents for this meeting were already due. Would you like to continue this matter to the EOTC?
This is the Min Cantaruti matter.
That is correct. I should read it into the record. File number 25134, complaint filed by Min Contaruti against Homeless and Supportive Housing for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.21, by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner.
Yeah, unless there's any objection, maybe I wasn't quite up with all the notices, but it sounds like it's all established that we can have this heard at EOTC, and that's fine with me. I don't know if I need to do anything here.
Yes. Can I have a motion, please?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the conversations occurred after the agenda had been posted.
Okay. I'll just move that this be based on the aforementioned, that this be reassigned to the next EOTC meeting, as the parties are already aware has been discussed.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Vice Chair Stein. To continue file number 25134 to the January 27, 2026 meeting of the Education, Outreach, and Training Committee. Taking public comment, please, on item 8. If you'd like to make public comment, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. We have no one in the room, no hands raised. Taking the vote on item 8. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Vice Chair Stein. Vice Chair Stein, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes. Item 9 was dispensed with in item 1 of the agenda under agenda changes. File number 10, item number 10, file number 26002, complaint filed by Charge Denny against San Francisco Police Department for allegedly violating Administrative Code Sunshine Ordinance, Section 67.21, by failing to respond to a public records request in a timely and/or complete manner. Section 67.26, by failing to keep withholdings to a minimum, and Section 67.27, by failing to provide written justification of withholdings.
Okay.
We have the parties present.
We do. Good.
May I get clarification, please, on who should be promoted to panelist from respondent? Is it Sergeant Rueka or Lieutenant Hepler, please? By a show of hands. Moving both Sergeant Rueka and Lieutenant Hepler to panelist. Moving petitioner Charles Denny to panelist. Parties are present. Would you like to hear from Mr. Denny first?
Yes.
Mr. Denny, you will have 3 minutes. I'll give you a 30-second warning. Are you ready for your 3 minutes?
Yes, I am.
Your time begins now.
Thank you. On December 14th, I submitted a Public Records Act request to the SFPD seeking confirmation of whether the department maintains any administrative systems used to track the handling of investigative case files, including but not limited to file access logs, routing logs, digitization logs, or custody transfer records. I did not request any investigative content. I asked only for a determination of existence, a general identification if such systems exist, and retention information if they once existed but were destroyed. This is a valid request under both the CPRA and the Sunshine Ordinance. The law requires only that a requester reasonably describe an identifiable category of records, and my request clearly identified the function, the type, and the subject matter of the administrative records at issue. The SFPD did not provide a determination. They repeated boilerplate language about, quote, identifiable records without explaining what they believed was unclear, without seeking clarification, and without offering any assistance. That violates Section 67.21, 67.26, and 67.27, which require good faith assistance, minimal withholding, and a written determination stating whether records exist, do not exist, or are exempt. The response to this task force also contradicts itself. They call the request vague, yet acknowledge that some investigative units do maintain records showing which members worked on a case file. This is an admission that administrative tracking records do exist. I respectfully ask the task force to find violations of the Sunshine Ordinance and to order the department to issue the clear, factual determination required by law. This is a straightforward request about administrative record keeping, and the public is entitled to a direct answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
We can now hear from the respondent when the timer is ready.
Who will be speaking on behalf of the police department, please? Lieutenant Hepler, you are acknowledged. One moment, I will unmute you.
Thank you.
Hello, Lieutenant. Are you ready for your 3 minutes?
Yes.
Your time begins now.
Thank you, committee. On 1/12/2026, I submitted on behalf of San Francisco Police Department Legal Division a written response that I believe you all have. I will paraphrase this as it was a lengthy response. The San Francisco Police Department responded in a timely manner to the request on 12/15/2025 and to a additional question by the respondent, or excuse me, by the complainant on 12/22/2025, and informed the complainant of the denial via an appropriate method. Based on the information and documented correspondence, the SFPD denies the allegation that it violated 67.21, 67.26, and 67.27 of the Sunshine Ordinance. SFPD acted in accordance with government code provisions because the complainant failed to identify a specific public record maintained by the SFPD. Instead, the complainant asked interrogatory-style follow-up questions, including explicit confirmation that SFPD does not maintain any administrative tracking systems or records of investigative case files. To the extent that it is decipherable, the complainant's request seeks a narrative response or inventory of SFPD records and processes, not a request for a public record. Therefore, without an identifiable record identified by the complainant, the SFPD was unable to search and or produce a record. SFPD notes that the complaint to this task force cites section 67.21, which under subsection C requires the department to provide a statement as to the existence or form of a record relating to a particular subject or questions with enough specificity to enable the requester to identify records to make a request. The complainant did not cite 67.21C in the original request. If the complainant intended to seek a description of records, their vague, ambiguous, and overbroad request does not seek the identification of any specific record. SFPD does not know what the complainant means by a general administrative record for case files maintained by numerous SFPD units over the course of more than 20 years. To the extent the SFPD can understand the complaint's request, SFPD does not maintain any such system of administrative handling of case files on a department-wide basis. Depending on the time frame, some investigative units within SFPD may maintain a record of members who have been assigned to or have worked in an investigative case file. However, the existence of such specific records will be tied to a particular time frame, SFPD unit, and a case. And as the best SFPD can tell, that is not what the complainant is seeking from their long series of general questions. Therefore, the SFPD cannot answer the complainant's request by producing any identifiable records or even by describing whether any specific records exist, because the complainant does not describe a specific record to enable them to identify records in a full and to fulfill this request. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, members, any questions? I'll ask just the respondent. It sounds to me like the questions that were asked of you here, please confirm whether you had these type of record systems, et cetera, et cetera. Answering the questions would be a pretty complicated answer. Is that accurate? If you had to answer that kind of question.
And first and foremost, we're not really quite sure what the complainant is asking here, but
Yeah.
if he was asking for every single administrative record over the past 20 years regarding SFPD case files and how they're maintained, that would be, I would not understand. I mean, let me think of how I could put this. I don't know if I could, or the department would be able to answer that question.
Because it would be, if there was an answer, it would be a pretty lengthy one with.
Well, there's units that don't exist anymore. There's units that have just come into existence. There's, it's not a blanket way that case files are tracked throughout the entire department, and nor have they been for over 20 years. So
fair enough.
If that's the assumption, if that's what the person is the complainant is asking, excuse me.
I think that answers my question. Thank you. Member Stein.
Yeah, so this is also for the respondent. Did you work with the petitioner in any way to narrow or clarify the request?
Yeah, so we received a response on the 18th of December, and then we responded through our GovQA portal to try to answer the question, and it seemed to us that it was a yes or no question, and we explained that we can't answer a yes or no question, and that we need have to be a specified record.
Okay, I'm just curious too for the respondent. Would your response have been different if the petitioner were only asking about the existence of a current system for tracking, this kind of information?
The response would be different if it was a question regarding a specific unit in a specific case and how it was tracked administratively. We could go to that unit and request that information, but we have no way of knowing what they're specifically asking to go and get that information on this type of broad question.
And I guess I have a question for the petitioner. Are you asking this question with the aim of eventually seeking particular records, or can you think of a way to narrow this request so that you can track how some of these records might have, you know, I guess, is it like the chain of custody or something of what happened with these records? You know, that you could track what the administrative record keeping system was in a particular case or for, you know, particular investigative files?
So I could narrow it down. I would say narrow it to maybe homicide, which is something I didn't do. So I admit that. A little bit of background context. I submitted a separate request for a specific case for these exact type of records, in which they responded that they had no responsive records for any of this, which I thought was pretty bizarre for an open homicide case to not have any of administrative file handling over a 20-year period. And so this request was mainly a clarification on whether they have any of these types of systems or records in place for any cases.
Those are all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Maybe that we have concluded with our questions. So now members will decide what to do with the case. I will say that there is a distinction here that I've seen many, many times in the work I've always done. You can ask for documents, you can ask questions in the form of an interrogatory, and they're kind of, even though they look often the same, they're two different things. And it does seem to me that it's a question being asked as opposed to either a document or a category of documents that are being described. And sometimes, you know, you start with one, which is the interrogatory, and you can turn it into something which is a request for documents, or the reverse. You take a request for documents and then you turn it into an interrogatory. But at least in my job, they're always kind of two different things. And I can see that it does seem like it's kind of a yes/no answer kind of thing. And the way that you would comply with it would be yes, no. To truly answer the question here, where the actual answer might be something which would take, you know, pages and pages and pages of explanations, exclusions, historical information, et cetera, to accurately describe 20 years of what was going on throughout the police department. So I'm a little bit doubtful myself about whether 21, 26, and 27 really are implicated with the request as it was stated here. I understand the petitioner's frustration because they got other answers to other document requests which said, oh, we don't have anything, but I don't know if this is worded in a way that it can be dealt with as a public records request. That's my 2 cents.
Oh, go ahead.
Right.
Well, I was just going to say, I was also kind of thinking about, in my capacity as a legal affairs reporter for 5.5 years, when I would go fishing for documents, you would do that. You would look up a case number and it would pull up everything that was filed within that case, typically like either through the court system itself or through Lexis. And so when I first saw like this list of things that he was looking for here, that's what I was thinking, like maybe that exists. But we've certainly had cases in the not distant past come before the Sunshine Task Force, having to do with like, well, just because we want that to exist doesn't mean that it does. In terms of violation, the only thing that I want to highlight as a possible one is in the police department's response. It says item number 3. It says, "Good afternoon. I want to apologize how long it's taken to look at this request. The media relations unit went through staffing changes, but we are currently addressing requests. Do you still need this information? Sincerely, Officer Sepulveda, Media Relations Unit." So to me, that sounds like it's a timeliness violation. But like that's kind of like the only thing that like I can like, look toward. And that's, I guess, the end of my thoughts on the matter.
I wasn't even really noticing that like I should have. And if they, sat on it and came back and said, well, do you still need this? And it's a lot later, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So maybe we do need to cite that, failure to respond timely.
Am I in the wrong place?
No,
Oh,
you're on item 9. This is item
okay, never mind.
10.
I retract my statement. Forget it.
So I had another question. I mean, on the one hand, I mean, I haven't worked in this area, but it doesn't seem like, it seems like information that should exist, whether there's a way of tracking, investigative case files. Maybe there isn't. Maybe everyone is a unique outlier depending on the year and the department and all of that. But it seems like you could say, well, we don't really have one way, or we have multiple ways, or whatever it might be. So I kind of wondered, I mean, it didn't seem like an unreasonable request at all, or, super hard to answer. It's like we do it or we don't do it in a way that we can, share with you. But I was wondering about, and I'm not sure how to interpret this, but like 6722A, which talks about release of oral public information, but it just says every department head should have somebody knowledgeable about the affairs of the department to provide information, including oral information to the public about the department's operations, plans, policies, and positions. And it seems like, whether they have a system for tracking investigative case files, seems like something really basic. And it might be different for different departments, but then that's a matter to be clarified, I think, with the petitioner. So I had a question in my mind about whether 6722A would apply here. And then also 6721C, failing to assist the requester. I mean, it just doesn't seem like there was a lot of communication that would have said, hey, here's our problem with this. What are you really looking for? What is the context here for us to kind of help you figure out if we can better understand your question and answer it? So I feel like it's kind of nebulous enough that it probably has to go to the full task force. And those were the two that seemed like potentially implicated to me.
So you're looking at a possible 6722A and a 21C.
Yeah, 6721C, just failing to assist requester.
And we would send it to the task force and maybe note those, which is, I can see that. 22A is just kind of an odd thing because it's a person is designated, and so to provide information, It's like you have to have like a designated person of some kind, and then I think the title it starts with release of oral public information shall be accomplished as follows. So that seems to me to be a conversational kind of thing as opposed to documents. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't consider it, but it's just
It's strange, but it just suggests to me that, if you wanted to go in person and say, do you have a system like this? Because I'm trying to find some records and I don't know what should exist or not exist. And it's kind of like a preliminary question you might need to ask to even know how to ask for whether it makes sense to ask for those records. And then, later on it says no employee should be required to spend more than 15 minutes. But this doesn't seem like the kind of question that you have to spend more than 15 minutes on. You either have a system or you really don't have a system. Or, but I think there needed to be clarification, right? I'm looking at this case from this year, this unit. Was there a system or was there no system? Do these files just kind of float around from person to person and nobody's tracking where they are, for instance? It doesn't seem like a hard question to answer. And this does seem to speak to, like, if you were to go in and do it in person, but I don't know why it would be different if you're trying to do it by a request.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was written, when things were a lot different in terms of technology, the ordinance. Okay, well, let's make sure we get those in what we send to the task force. And I agree with you that I think we just send it on and have a full hearing before the full task force of this matter.
I do want to say too, I don't know if to the petitioner, I don't know if a complaint was filed about about his previous request where he was told there were no records about a murder investigation. But I would say that I would encourage you to consider filing a complaint if that seemed very wrong to you about, that response, that maybe that's something worth looking at. And maybe that's a better way to get at the information that you're looking for than just sort of a general request about whether systems exist.
Thank you. Yeah, I did submit a.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to make the motion. I move to forward this to the full task force. This involves questions of public records, and there is jurisdiction. There is no recommendation, but the task force should consider, among other possible violations, sections 67.21C and 67.22A in its determinations.
I would second that.
Moved by Chair Schmidt, seconded by Vice Chair Stein, to find that the task force has jurisdiction, that the requested records are public, and refers the matter to the full task force for consideration with no recommendation at this time, but a request that the task force consider, among other possible violations, section 67.21A and section 67.22A in its determinations.
21C and 22A.
21C and 22A.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Taking public comment. We have no attendees either in the room or online.
All right. Let's vote.
Taking the vote on item 10. Chair Schmidt.
Aye.
Chair Schmidt, aye. Vice Chair Stein.
Aye.
Vice Chair Stein, aye. Member Sugarman.
Aye.
Member Sugarman, aye. 3 ayes, motion passes.
Okay, thank you to the parties. Matters concluded. Member
Thank you, parties.
Member Schuman, was there?
No, I was looking at-
having issue.
I was looking at item 9, which is also an SFPD issue, which is why I was kind of like,
Okay, got it. All right. Okay, number 11.
Item 11, hearing on advancing Sunshine Ordinance Task Force, Section 67.3 roles.
Okay, so this, I think I may have dropped the ball on this. And we were all set to go, and I'm not quite sure how it didn't come together to actually be voting on individual items, but it may be that for some reason in my mind it was sort of going to be automatically done, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I believe the two things that should have happened, one is that I was going to look back at our hearing to figure out what the specific items were going to be that we were going to vote on. And two, I have a question, which is, if this involves a bylaws amendment, I know that there's a rule that says there's a notice requirement for the task force to vote on it.
That is correct.
I wonder if that rule also applies to the committee, considering whether to send them forward. I don't think it would, but I couldn't find the rule in the bylaws themselves. But do we have to have some kind of special notice because this would be bylaws amendments?
Mr. Young, question for you. Does the additional noticing period for a vote on a bylaws amendment apply only to the task force? One moment, please.
Oh, geez, for some reason, amendment is right at the end.
One moment, please.
I don't think we.
Hello, this is the administrator with a question for Mr. Young. Mr. Young, does the additional noticing period for a vote on a bylaws change apply only to the task force? Or does it also apply to the committee?
I think bylaw changes can only be made at the full BOS level. I don't think the committee can make a change to the bylaw. They can make a recommendation, but then it needs to be voted upon by the full task force with proper notice before it can be adopted officially.
Yeah, we were going to vote in committee as to what we would recommend and send it on. And I don't think we would have to notice it specially for doing that procedure in the committee. I just wanted to make sure, since there's a special rule, 14-day rule for what happens at the full task force.
For discussion purposes, I don't believe there's any rule. It's just for final adoption. We need to notice it prior to adoption.
All right.
Which is
That's
what
an internal rule. It's not written anywhere except for the bylaws itself.
they had told me the same thing when I brought it up the last time about like changing it, like the meeting structure to end it. My suggestion was to end at 9:30, and they said in order to do that, they would have to like suggest an actual amendment or something like that.
Okay. Well, I don't think for purposes of us doing our thing, we have any kind of special notice, but I want to make sure that this gets done next meeting so we can send it to the full task force. And so from me to the administrator, we'll be putting on the agenda for the equivalent of number 11. We'll have, material attached, etc. And we'll also change the name of what it is, which is,
Action.
yeah, action to make recommendations about complaint procedure changes.
Or proposed changes to task force bylaws.
Proposed, okay, yeah, that's even better. Members, sorry, I just spoke maybe out of turn, but any thoughts on this?
This needs to get on the agenda for my own sanity.
Okay, yeah.
And I wrote 2 proposed amendments. I'm not sure that they're, what people want to forward. I agree that, as we talked about last time, they shouldn't probably go together. They should go one by one, but that doesn't mean we can't discuss them together and try to hammer them out. And so I wrote 2, and one is about, putting limitations on speaking under conduct of meetings for the SOTF bylaws. And the other is, and I don't even know, people might not even want this one, but amendment to clarify the purpose and sought outcomes of agenda items. And I looked at other bylaws or other rules for other groups, city commissions and things about trying to have something that gives a little more context to what might appear on an agenda. That shows that something is ready to appear on an agenda. And then there was a third one, which I didn't write up based on our last discussions, but I have like a lot of notes on. But I don't think it's a bylaws amendment, but I can't remember if like what the different committees do is in the bylaw. But we talked about really thinking through what committees do. And I think I'm looking for my notes here. To me, there's a really big hole right now in the way we do things with compliance. Is that we make, we issue orders and then some of them just, nothing ever happens with them again. Occasionally we'll hear back from a petitioner that nothing happened after the orders were issued. And we don't even necessarily know that because it doesn't seem like there's a foolproof responsibility of any committee or any group within the task force to make sure that they're tracking what the orders are and whether they're complied with. So I feel like compliance is this huge hole, and compliance is, specifically mentioned, find it somewhere in the things that we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be reporting on compliance with the Sunshine Ordinance. And we can't do that if we're not really tracking compliance in a consistent way. And then, what's the other big hole? Oh, I sort of feel like, another thing that we're supposed to be doing, and I don't know if this can come into the rationale of some of this when it goes forward, is that we're supposed to be setting goals to ensure that there's practical and timely implementation of this law. So I think we could say, we think compliance should be a goal and that we should agree on the task force that compliance is a goal. And with that as a goal, we want to institute some kind of system for really tracking whether orders are complied with or not. So that's like the third item I would have thought about kind of trying to develop as something to go forward to change our processes. But like I said, I can't remember because I haven't really done the work of it yet, whether that's something that would actually come into the bylaws or not, or whether that's just something about our own internal procedures.
Okay. It sounds like some of what you've given me maybe we already had, but maybe there's some of it that's wasn't already there, but I don't mind adding it in. And so just to sort of like talk to myself so that I don't forget as I did this time, we'll have like sort of a set of bullet point items to vote on. We obviously, I don't think there's any reason we can't talk ahead of time and make edits to any of them and then vote on them. But we'll go into the meeting with these as, you know, up or down votes on different rules changes. Some of them are going to be about complaints procedures. Maybe some are not bylaws amendments. Maybe some are on other subjects. But, you know, we can put them all together and put them forward. And I think we don't necessarily need the idea of doing them one at a time as much as I think if we're putting them at the task force, I think I would like to have them as individual items, because I think if we put them all together, if someone found a reason that they didn't want one, they voted all down.
Yeah.
But I also think that with the issue of meeting times and their end times and then compliance, I would suggest that we do meeting times in February and compliance in March. And I'm only saying this because whenever we suggest something like this, it becomes a huge discussion.
Yeah, in order to have good discussion.
And it's like, and so like, if you're doing a discussion, which is what happened last time, if you're doing a discussion about meeting times in order to make the meeting shorter, you extend the meeting by 45 minutes discussing that specific item. And then like you come to the next one.
Yeah.
So just my only last thing is like, just with the meeting time thing, I do think that like if you have different parts of it, like you want it to end at a certain time, you want people to speak more than one time, that those should actually be separate items to vote on in within that like topic.
The one that I wrote up because we discussed it and I tried to figure out how would it fit into the bylaws is an amendment to section 5, the conduct of meetings in the SOTF bylaws, and it's to add a section E on limitations on speaking. And then I drew a lot of that language from the Board of Supervisors meetings, but I also talk about the rationale for it at length. I'm not at all married to like the way that I wrote it up, but I just wanted to have something that we could work from. And I'm, very, if people want to tweak it, however, that's great. But I would love for that one to go forward like as soon as possible, because I really want to make an attempt at being able to like get these meetings in under, some kind of order.
Yes.
Vice Chair Stein, when was that information provided?
I sent it to Chair Schmidt. I don't know if I sent it to you.
That's okay. I was just wondering.
I mean,
What it
I
was for.
provided it like a month ago.
I also, I think it was during our last meeting, I sent to the three of you a very short suggestion that was modified from what Victor had sent us about the Board of Supervisors speaking rules. And I'm going to read it because it's short. My suggestion was, during deliberations, members who have once spoken on a particular matter shall not again be entitled to the floor so long as any member who has not spoken desires to speak.
That's
Period.
okay.
And then the second sentence says, this is my last sentence, members shall not speak more than twice on the same matter during deliberation unless of a majority of the board consents. So basically it allows people to speak twice once everyone has spoken. But if they want to speak more than twice, they can't.
Okay,
Without a
I
majority.
didn't put the twice part in there, but if you want to come like if it's on the agenda for the next meeting and you want to come saying like, I want to add this sentence, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that like twice is like a better thing, because I think that people who speak once, they're not going to realize they've been completely cut off from speaking again after that one time. I just feel like it gives a little bit more of an opportunity.
I'd also like to offer a reminder. I see the communication, Member Sugarman. I want to remind the committee members not to respond as a group to emails so that we avoid
A meeting, yeah.
a meeting.
That's why I'm saying, like, this
I-
can
and
all
I-
happen
just to
after
clarify,
the
I-
next notice.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair Stein, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, that's why I'm saying, like, these things can be added after this has been noticed for the next meeting. Come ready, saying, I want to amend it in this way or that way.
And I can send that. I rarely send things. I can just send it BCC to my, like, I can send it to myself next time and just BCC people so it doesn't become a discussion in an email.
Thank you. Chair Schmidt, I'm clarifying that there was not a response
For,
to the communication from Member Sugarman to the committee members.
okay. I guess
And
what I can, let's see, if I get something from you, if I get something from you and I don't say anything,
I'll
but
just
I
send
can
it again
still
directly.
I can still use it to sort of like create say a 2-page, these are the items we're going to vote on. And then, we are, obviously we can, some of them, they may overlap, and I'll write something up that would hopefully deal with that. And then there were some items that we already talked about, and we'll just have them all there. We can mess around with them, et cetera, but it definitely needs to be up for our next meeting. It should have been here today, but I kind of dropped the ball again.
And to confirm, February will be for an agendizing of action on agendizing meeting times, and March will be about complaint procedures.
About compliance.
Of compliance.
That was just my suggestion.
I don't know. I haven't even written anything up for that.
They'll be separate.
I think we want, this is what I'm going to say is I want to put it all in together, and at our next meeting, if we want to delay in some way, or if we want to split them up, let's talk about it then. But I want to at least get it so that we can act on it if we want to, or the next hearing. If we want to split things off because they're about a different subject matter, and we want to put it over to another meeting, let's just like deal with that when we do our up and down votes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I should say that I only sent, I'm not sure, I mean, what the process should be, but I just sent this item to the chair because I thought the chair will decide when to put it on an agenda, whether to put it on the agenda. But maybe I should be copying, Pat as well as the administrator, or no?
No,
I mean, I
that's
just
not-
assumed it would go through the
Oh,
chair first.
That's not why I was asking. I was asking because I was wondering if I missed it.
Yeah, I think it just went to me.
I think it just went.
Yeah.
Thank you. Public comment? Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 11? Please raise your hand in the app or press *3. I'll give you a moment.
Get to speak a second time and then need permission to speak beyond that.
The second.
We have no one in the room, no one online with their hand raised.
Okay.
Item 12, announcements, comments, questions, and future agenda items by members of the complaint committee.
I don't think I have anything. Anything, members?
No.
Announcements? No. Okay. No.
Oh, yeah. No announcement, but in the commentary section, I think I wanted to go on record and say that I'm still kind of to put it diplomatically, frustrated by what happened last meeting. Last meeting at the full Sunshine Ordinance Task Force, when we were made to describe our decisions individually. And I thought it was punitive. And I want to put that on the record. And that's all I'll say on it.
Noted.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit gratuitous, the idea of like just sort of telling people how to write their own stuff. Yeah.
To be fair, it was requested that we provide further explanation for our decisions.
Yeah.
I just also agree with what has been told to, what we've discussed and what's been told to me also from, the chair and from other members that like, that our meeting information, our minutes are there, our meeting information is there, the recordings are there.
The entire case file is there.
Yes. I felt like that could have been handled quite a bit more diplomatically. And, for a couple of reasons, I was very frustrated by the time I left last meeting.
Since we spent about an hour debating that one. Yeah. Okay, next item.
Public comment?
Yeah.
Anyone wishing to make public comment on item 12? If you're in the online community, please raise your hand in the app or press *3. We have no one in the queue. Item 13, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
The complaint committee is adjourned at 8:37 p.m. Microphones are off.